and significant to us in terms of heritage and so on, and where do we go culturally, and leading, pointing by direction and so on. Let me say also that in your capacity as Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago South Florida Chamber of Commerce, I'm very pleased to see what I'm seeing here today. And that is the process has already started, where we are doing that networking, and we are giving referral business and so on to the people within that chamber. So thank you very much, because that is something you know is of great importance to the consulate and to Trinidad and Tobago business development as well. So thank you in that regard. My job, my task this afternoon is extremely simple. Dr. Parson is a colleague of mine. I've known him for over 20 years now. Very professional, extremely brilliant young man. Did his first degree at the Faculty of Medical Sciences at the University of the West Indies. And then he went on to do a Master's of Business Administration. In between that, he was a lecturer at the said university. Subsequently, he went on to do further training in the areas of international business and international trade, international relations. He also served as the director of the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of the University of the West Indies, as well as several other business corporations and so on as a director. He has been extremely influential in leading the direction prior to his posting here of good governance and good political responsibility in Trinidad and Tobago, by actually being part of the creation of a document that has been used now as government policy, which is the Manifesto of the People's Partnership. It is now officially established as government policy. Dr. Parson was instrumental in drafting part of that document, or in collaboration with several others and so on. So since he has been up here over a year now, he has distinguished himself certainly in the work he has been doing in terms of creating business opportunities, networking opportunities. And I know he has a passion for Trinidad, he has a passion for culture, and he feels very strongly about the steel drums and the steel pan, and our own cultural experiences and so on. So it is my distinguished pleasure this afternoon to yet again, for about the third time in as many days, to introduce His Excellency Dr. Neil Parson.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to Dr. Ramlan, and thanks for that very kind introduction. And every time I hear my CV, I sometimes think it's a bit it could easily render one into complacency. But I am humbled by being here with you, and thanks to this. This is the first time I'm seeing this, especially the first time recapping the experiences of one going back to home.
I was in Trinidad last week and met Gideon Hanumansing.
Sure.
And he had made a request to see to it that was included, and to share with you the success to you.
The DVDs and so on were sent, and they were dispatched for viewing, but I have not seen it because of a very heavy schedule. I have not seen it in its entirety, and I'm glad that we came here in very humble circumstances, in a beautiful environment. And as a collective people, enjoy this sort of experience. And that, my friends, Ms. Andrews, is one aspect of what we need to capitalize on for Trinidad and Tobago. Heritage/genealogical tourism. It's a niche market. I have found that in being here as ambassador for the last year and having heavily traveled the country, let's say we have 700,000 odd Trinidadians here. I find the first generation, they give back. Second generation, they tend to hold back. And the third generation want this. They want to come back. So give back, hold back, and come back. And I think it's a point that is easy, that can be capitalized on if harvested in a certain way, because surely I would want to understand where I came from Trinidad and Tobago. And our roots. We are 40% Africans, 42% Indians, and the rest is other. From slavery to indentureship, we are the epitome of diversity. And that surely is one aspect of our diversity. Culinarily, ethnically, religiously, we are diverse people. And I think we have a lot to teach the world. I'll also tell you recently, I was asked to, on a similar topic, I was asked to address the United Nations on a very interesting topic of cultural diplomacy, and I was speaking to the president of the organization, of the International Cultural Diplomacy Organization, and let me tell you what the world thinks of Trinidad and Tobago. The world thinks of Trinidad and Tobago as a micro United Nations. We are a microcosm of all organisms on the planet, and we are. You could find Syrian, Lebanese, Chinese, Indian, African, you name it, and add mixtures of genes. And genetic and genomic sovereignty is almost indiscernible. You can't pick it out because we are so admixed. And I think it's an easily capitalizable form of cultural expression that we ought to talk about. And what I spoke of was cultural diplomacy as a tool for unity in a heterogeneous society. And I think sometimes we underestimate how our culture and these forms of cultural expression has really created the equivalent of an amalgam and a homogeneous society in our own country. Let me explain something to you. You see, when slavery was abolished, as a form of retaliation almost, the African slaves, in their own language, were chanting around, in their own environment, away from the masters. And that evolution of that chanting, that music, evolved into calypso. It evolved, and they would do it wee hours in the morning. And that evolved into Juve. And Juve subsequently evolved into Carnival. And we boast of the second largest carnival in the world. And I think it's something we need to package in a certain way that's retailable, exportable, and we can seed other cities, as we have done in Miami, New York, Toronto, London, all over the United States. But we need to create a product that's fairly templated, standardized, and extrapolable elsewhere. I would also tell you, think about it. Think about the evolution of our own culture. From calypso, that form of retaliative expression, over the last 15 to 20 years, what happened to calypso? It moved into a stage of an upbeat genre of party music that subsequently evolved into soca. Not so. Let's take our Indian ancestry. That's our Prime Minister. When the Indians came in 1845, May the 30th, 1845, on the Federal Reserve, the first batch came. Their form of expression was what is called chowtal singing. You know what chowtal is? It's in their own distinct language, and it was not a retaliative expression, but a preservation of own, a preservation of self. That's what chowtal has become. That has also evolved into a party upbeat genre that we now call chutney. And think about what has happened to both forms of artistic expression over the last 10 to 15 years. We have seen soca sort of fused into chutney, or vice versa. Who would have thought 20 years ago the Indians would have been in one corner with the chutney or chowtal? The nationals will be in one corner expressing themselves with soca. And we have seen soca infuse itself into chutney, and chutney infuse itself into soca. Right now we actually have a chutney soca monarch. Who would have thought? And think of what that has done as well. Marshall Montano was on stage with Jupiter a few years ago. That blazed the trail. Imagine our own soca music, about 5 or 6 years ago, fused with hip hop. Pitbull from Puerto Rico, well known all over the planet, he merged into that form of soca. So we now actually have a form of soca, hip hop, chutney. Where it came from? It came from that form of cultural expression. Beanie Man, other dancehall artists, are on stage with Marshall Montana and other soca artists. So you're now seeing reggae that started off before that what we call rockers. So rockers into reggae evolved into dancehall, and now dancehall is fusing with soca. What does that tell us about our people in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, what we have been projecting there? The point I'm trying to make, you ladies and gentlemen, is this entire form of cultural expression, it's evolutionary, but it has the potential to become revolutionary. And I think it is, as leaders in this room, it is incumbent on all of us to take what we have done and what we have shown the world and allow it to take its natural course in history, i.e. teach them about that form of unity. And I'm using music as a vehicle, because exactly as music evolved and fused, so has our genetic diversity as a people. it has evolved and fused. It's very difficult to go into Trinidad and see almost a pure Indian. You would see what they call red, not so. And that has also taken its part. So go out there, I plead with you, become good cultural ambassadors for your country, support the brand that is Trinidad and Tobago, and let us put our small dot in a paragraph. Let it shine. Bold it, italize it, underline it, and let us teach the world the lessons that we were meant to teach them. I thank you very much. Thank you.
Commissioner Modestine from District 2, and he is, your district is predominantly of Haitian?
Predominantly African American.
Oh, okay, okay. And so I was, you had just missed the remarks the ambassador had shared with us, Ambassador Parson, and
Ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago, pleasure to meet you.
Modestine, nice to meet you, sir.
and Honorable Dr. Ramnanan, the Consul General, he
Modestine, nice to meet you, sir.
and so with that, we will take the remarks that you have so that we would be able to continue our program.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mr. Ambassador, Consul General, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm truly honored and privileged to partake in your discussion here today, and I'll share some brief remarks with you, and I'm grateful for the invitation, and I ask for your indulgence for immediately after my presentation. I do have to leave to another function, but I do feel privileged being here and being invited by you to... I'd like first to reaffirm a very simple reality that it is historical, geographical, and cultural, that Haiti, my country of origin, is an integral part of the Caribbean, as you all know. Contrary to most of the islands in the Caribbean, Haiti was probably fortunate or unfortunate to have been colonized by friends. I said either fortunate or unfortunate, for we probably one of the fewest, probably one or two of the two countries in the Caribbean to speak French, and of course Creole, Patois. And as you know, the rest, when it comes to the colonization by friends, the rest is history, and you know about that. I must again state my gratitude to be here. For us Haitians, we do consider all Caribbeans, all black people, as our brothers and sisters. All people of African descent to be our brothers and sisters. And I must confess that I was wishing that my conversation today was about Carnival. How do we compare what we do in Haiti with what you do in Trinidad and Tobago, and what in comparison as well with Brazil? I thought as well that we could have talked about soccer, you know, which would have been a very interesting conversation for all of us. If any of you are old enough that Haiti never forgave Trinidad and Tobago for the goal scored by Ashibal, and the World Cup qualifying leading to the 1974 World Cup in Germany, because Trinidad at the time was a very major contender, and in the side of Haiti and Mexico, you know, soccer was really, really very, very, very appreciated in these areas. But as for the request to address the reconstruction of Haiti, let me say that I do appreciate your concern and your interest in that. And the Caribbean community, and particularly those of Trinidadian descent, can probably offer a whole lot to Haiti in terms of expertise because, as you know, when the rest of the Caribbean has the flu, Haiti probably has pneumonia. So, and before you know it, pneumonia can probably extend to the larger community if we don't try to contain that. So your assistance on expertise will be very much appreciated. And when I say expertise, because some of us, many of us here, have a major interest of seeing Haiti getting out of the receiving end of all the major donors of the world, and including donors from the Caribbean community, and partake in the redevelopment of the region as a whole, and taking a leading role as it did in 1804, freeing the slaves, and right now being in the economic and financial bondage that Haiti is. Many of us of Haitian descent would like to see a different side, a different view of Haiti. And I suspect that your interests here demonstrate clearly that you want to play a role in that, and helping Haiti getting out of the political and financial economic bondage that it is, to be truly a major player in the Caribbean that it's supposed to be. Last December, as many of you may know, I, together with the Enterprise Florida, hosted a conference here in Miami on the reconstruction of Haiti. My objective at the time was twofold. The first objective was to make sure that we all from this community who are professional would partake in the, I would say, capacity building of the Haitian workforce, training people, helping them to have skills and to depend on themselves instead of others. The other objective was to help sustain the economy here, because if companies from Miami-Dade County, from South Florida, was able to find opportunities in Haiti from the billions of dollars that are being spent over there, donated by the international community, that would help sustain the economy here. As we know, that unemployment rate in Miami-Dade County is up and around 10%, and we all could do better if the unemployment rate will be lowered. I think these two objectives were met in the sense that my office and the office of Enterprise Florida and the Consul General Office of Haiti here have been bombarded by phone calls of companies and professionals and other entities who want to travel to Haiti for business. And I hope that some of you, if any of you here were interested, that you would also obtain opportunities there. The conference, as per many participants, was a total success. For the first time, we were able to connect many people and companies from the private and public sector here with their counterpart in Haiti. And all the entities, major entities like the IDB, USAID, from the international community, who are major stakeholders in Haiti right now, were present at that event. This was a major effort by myself, Miami-Dade County, Enterprise Florida, and the Haitian community here toward the efforts, toward the reconstruction efforts in Haiti. But I'll tell you that the reality on the ground of Haiti is still not where we want it to be, because there are many issues impacting the progress of the reconstruction of Haiti. The old demons have reappeared. Partisan politics is one of those demons that is impeding the effort of the reconstructions of Haiti. We all know that Haiti was very devastated and no housing constructions to replace, those that were lost after the earthquake are not coming fast enough. The construction of major infrastructure in Haiti are still being delayed considerably, and the people are getting very impatient. We all have read or heard the news about people occupying the streets on a regular basis because of the delay over these major development issues that are not moving fast enough. In all, Haiti remains a recipe for turmoil unless the new government can demonstrate stronger leadership, unless the new government can demonstrate that they are interested in moving to bring change to the people as fastly as the people expected. These two are not mutually inclusive in the sense that leading is difficult because most people out there don't always understand the dynamic within government, but they expect it, and they expect it quickly. And government and the desire and the determination to do it right, especially in Haiti, where this time, if they're going to have a chance, they do have to do it right. You may not want to move as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, but nevertheless, I think the new government of President Mateli has to truly demonstrate good faith in its effort to take the country to a new direction. It is my sincere hope that you can help, whether it's by being part of the Haitian political discourse, because we all who have lived here and who have a better understanding of democracy, of how to deliver services and professional expertise, and how to cater to the people who needs us the most to help them out. We can participate in the political discourse in Haiti. And I don't make this statement lightly for the simple reason that the great people throughout the world have always found opportunities to know what unites them instead of what divides them. So as a Caribbean people, I think it's about time we all find out what unites us. I was very fortunate to be the host of the ambassador of South Africa to the United States yesterday, and these were the themes that were echoed a lot. How we need to find common ground among ourselves to the benefit of our people, and hopefully you'll be able to play your own role in helping Haiti go over these humps and bumps. I used to see the cup half empty when it comes to Haiti. But as difficult as things have gotten over the years, I'm becoming hopeful because at the end of the day, the challenges that Haiti faces will bring out over time probably the best of the leadership out of Haiti, because the worse the situation gets in Haiti, the bolder the future leaders will have to be. Therefore, because I understand this particular paradigm, I cannot allow myself to lose hope that if it's not this particular government, in the near future, some bolder leadership will be created. Thank you so very much. Out of Haiti, and the ladies always know when you need their help. Thank you so very much. So I challenge you because I've told those of Haitian descent in particular that I challenge them to come to the help of Haiti before anybody else come to the help of Haiti. But beside them, our Caribbean brothers and sisters are next in line to do for Haiti and to do for the Caribbean in general what others expect to do for us. Because if we do that, then when they come and bring help to us, they'll better understand that they're just not giving you a handout. They probably doing what humanity requires of them to do, instead of just giving something and go away, but partaking in development of Haiti, the Caribbean country, and making our world a better place. So again, I couldn't go in more detail in my conversation over Haiti. I don't represent the government. They have data and facts that I don't have. But as an individual of Haitian descent, Haiti is very dear to me. I myself, my staff, and other individuals in the Haitian leadership here, we're all trying to do whatever we can to lay a stronger hand to the people of Haiti. And I'd love and appreciate a great deal to partner with you in anything that you would be able to do to help the people of Haiti, because this is a people that is very resilient, very tough, very strong, very, some people thought after the earthquake of 2010, the island of Haiti, the people of Haiti could have disappeared. But as you've read in the paper and heard on many occasions, I myself have never seen a more resilient people. So there is hope for Haiti. The best is yet to come. And after we've helped that happen, the best will benefit your children and my children, if not you and me. So thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. I want to pick up on the comment that you, 1 second, Ambassador Parson.
Yeah, but if I may,
Go right ahead, totally.
Commissioner, please allow me, with your kind indulgence, to respond to what you just said.
Yes.
And I'm speaking on behalf of the government and people of Trinidad and Tobago, and on my own personal behalf. I must tell you that you have a friend in Trinidad and Tobago. And I must also tell you, I must applaud you publicly for being so patriotic, nationalistic, and ambassadorial for your people.
Thank you.
It's truly admirable.
Thank you.
You use the floor. And let me also tell you, Commissioner, I have taken Haiti almost personally.
Thank you.
I kid you not when I tell you, over the last 24 hours, I addressed the South Florida Chamber, the Greater Miami Chamber, the Council of the Americas, the Caribbean Trade Council, and about 2 or 3 other meetings. And in every single one of those meetings, I challenged every single person in the room to support Haiti.
Thank you.
In every single meeting, including with the top business executives in this room. I must confess to you that I probably breached confidentiality with my friend, and I'll say it now. Senator Brannan was in this room about 20 minutes to half an hour ago. And I pulled him aside. I said, Senator, you're in a leadership position. The Caribbean community is supportive of its representatives. And I thank all of them for supporting the Caribbean community. Everywhere I go, I use this analogy. The Caribbean, we are households in a gated community. That gated community is part of a neighborhood. Our neighbors to the north happens to be the United States. And when your neighbor's house is on fire, you don't throw water on yours. You throw it in your neighbor's house to extinguish it. And right now, we understand what Haiti is going through. I will also tell you, I told the senator, I said, Senator, I will personally facilitate the ambassador of Jamaica, the ambassador of Barbados, the ambassador of Guyana, myself, the ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago, and the ambassador of Haiti to come down to Miami. And I'm challenging you to bring the Caribbean diaspora in one room with one call to support Haiti. The senator took my information and immediately texted his staff to get the ball rolling on this. And I would love for you to be part of that whole exercise.
It will be a pleasure, Mr. Ambassador, and my Chief of Staff is here. I'm sure that he's taking notes.
Sure.
But let me tell you this, the reason why your statement is so powerful to me and to others listening is because of what I'm going to tell you. I suspect and I'm convinced that the aid and the funding being provided by the international community to Haiti will not solve Haiti's problem.
Exactly.
The $10 billion that is pledged toward Haiti over the next 5 to 10 years will not do much for Haiti. I'm going to explain to you why. Haiti is a very poor country. $5 billion would have been enough to rebuild the. I'm not an expert in the expert in the field, but having been in government, a student of politics, I would say $5 million would have been enough to rebuild the entire infrastructure in Haiti. But what we all have learned through the media is the fact that more than 65% of all these monies go back to the funding sources, to the people from the international community that left those countries to go work in Haiti. More than 50% of these funds pay for salary of these people who left the international community to go work in Haiti. So because of that, I'm convinced that the best way to get Haiti out of these miserable condition that it is right now is for the Haitian children and their sisters and cousins throughout the Caribbean community to partner in the endeavor of solving Haiti's problem with the long-term goal of strengthening the political and economic power of the Caribbean as a whole. Because beside Cuba, Haiti is the largest market in the area. And for all of us who understand the dynamic of global businesses right now, and trade issues that are being negotiated all over the place, all over the world, what's a better way of strengthening our market than to make sure that, as we lower the boundaries within the Caribbean, as everybody else done all over the world, for people to be able to do business and travel, that all of us throughout the Caribbean can take opportunities that Haiti will offer as a market, sure, as it rebuilds itself. So I take your challenge very seriously, and I welcome the opportunity to work with you and to all people who want to support and help Haiti. Thank you so very much, guys.
The joy of a room of this setting and the size of it is that you do things and achieve things in a very camaraderie type manner that you wouldn't get in a very formal environment. Hence the remarks from Ambassador Parson to you, and I'm sure to Consul General Ramadan's pleasure that this is in the direction of the vision that he sees with regards to the Chamber of Commerce, and specifically being here on the ground as a point person to the ambassador in DC is where the metal meets the road, and in the sense that here in Miami, with the Trinidad and Tobago South Florida Chamber of Commerce, the businesses that are here are the ones that are of interest to reach out to their brethren and to the Caribbean diaspora in Haiti and throughout to achieve the things that need to be done, because you are rightfully so when it's your internal community that brings that to the fore to be able to accomplish that. As you know, and why this is a very comfortable setting to be able to do that is in Trinidad, the ability to export either be cement, either be gas, that's something that is very naturally done. That is something that is beneficial without question to Haiti. So the Consul General, with regards to being here in Miami and the Chamber having that mandate to be binational, I am certain that in the challenge that the ambassador has, that there will be those connected dots to making a difference for the people of Haiti, because that's what this really is about. This is not about, like you say, an outside force being able to derive benefit from on the ground. This is really to being able to work together and to achieve. And so with your remarks and with the challenge that the ambassador presents, this is a very, very positive step in the direction that has to be taken. And Trinidad clearly is in a position to do it because of the big brother, the Caribbean, that it represents. So, and lastly, in the last 48 hours, I come to understand that the ambassador has a penchant for pen. And so when you have culture, that is, because your question was you would have preferred to be on a lighter subject other than Reconstruction. When
no, that was the sidebar.
Yeah, and then on the sidebar, culture is the dynamic that brings us together.
Exactly.
That's the
That was the
part that
sidebar.
really gives us the glue to being able to relate to one another. For an example, in Iraq, when they had all of those challenges, it was football, it was soccer that we were able to bring that together.
Yes.
So sport, culture, those are the things that once we get beyond this, that we get down to the business side of it. And so we have made inroads in a small manner, and hopefully as a result of where it leads from the Challenge Ambassador places, that clearly some mission or some kind of presence from the business community that you represent, the efforts that the Consul General is here with the Chamber of Commerce, that there'll be some bridging of a gap, and at whatever role that the Trinidadian business community in the country could play, then clearly that's something that is well intended. So your remarks?
Thank you so very much.
Mhm.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate that.